Hello, my name is Sarah. I work here at the library. I'm the Creative Services Coordinator in charge of the Makerspace, where we have a lot of maker technology, industrial technology like 3D printers, vinyl cutters. And so Meg from College of DuPage is here to talk about Project Higher Ed, which is their program for getting apprenticeship trained for maker-related careers. And so on that note, I'm going to pass it off to you. I'm going to mute my mic, and so you will have the floor.
Okay, sounds great. Thanks, Sarah. Good evening to everyone. As Sarah mentioned, my name is Meg Fry, and I am the apprentice recruiter. So I'm kind of the key person that you can contact. You might have some questions. And I do a lot of outreach with different communities. So that's kind of who I am. I want to very much welcome that if you have questions along the way, or we can also hold questions until till the end of the presentation as well. The other thing I wanted to mention is I can also make sure that we get your email address, or if you want me to send it to your home, and send some additional information, especially maybe if you have a family member that's interested in this, or you just want to see the presentation again, or see some other types of materials. I'd be happy to do that for you. So a little bit about what exactly is an apprenticeship. Bottom line is kind of the combination between working, so you work full time, as well as you go to school, and at the same time be learning, whether or not it's at the workplace or at school. We have found that the apprentices really enjoy this kind of model, especially if they are the type of person who likes to work with their hands, likes to be active, and enjoys this type of learning. And I want to especially take a minute to talk a little bit about how the program came to be, and especially because we're talking at the Addison Library. I was not here when it was started, but from what I understand is a number of manufacturing companies in the town of Addison were very concerned that not enough people were seeing manufacturing as a career. So they went to the mayor, asked him what he could do, and then he went to COD to help start this program. So I think it's something that you should feel really good about, that it's grassroots from the town of Addison. You do not need to be from Addison. You don't even have to be from DuPage County to participate in the apprenticeship program. But I always like to tell that story because I think it's really interesting that how the program grew. So what I'd like to do now is stop share. Let me just move this here. And I'd like to show a video. And I want to set it up a little bit what it is. This hasn't even been scripted. This happens to be someone who was just 18 or 19 years old when we went to his employer to kind of talk about what exactly it's like to be an apprentice. So just want to kind of show this so that you see this. Thanks, Sarah. You know, one of the reasons that we show that is that I think it's so important to hear directly from someone who is an apprentice. And a couple of things that I want to just kind of highlight in there is the amount of support that one gets to be an apprentice. As I mentioned in the story of how the program developed, from the manufacturers, from the companies, because they really want to see people succeed in this particular career that they chose. So it's not just, you know, you're an hourly worker, you are really part of the culture. You get to have benefits. You get to have, I was talking with some people that work for an Addison company, and they were really excited because of some of the different picnics. Their company has a bowling party, and it was just really fun for them to be part of that. So not only do you have your manager or supervisor who you report to, but then you also will have someone who is a mentor, who is someone trained by us, by COD, to actually kind of help you with your career. Just kind of someone else who's kind of looking out for you. And then we also, on our side with Project Higher Ed, also have someone who's a case manager, is what her title is. I call her the success manager. She's really like that person that, say you couldn't get into classes, or you're having a tricky time balancing work and school. She's the kind of person that you could kind of talk to kind of problem solve and that kind of stuff. So I just wanted to let you know a little bit of what we're looking at for that. So a little bit about the benefits. Let me just move this here so you can see everything. Bottom line, it's full-time salary and benefits. And as I alluded to a minute or two ago, things such as insurance, paid time off, you hear about the retirement type of accounts and so forth. You are fully part of that particular company as a full employee. You'll earn an industry certificate. So you'll earn a registered apprenticeship, which will be recognized from the Department of Labor. What the upside to that is that that's something that is recognized by the United States. Any other place that you go will always be able to understand the kind of training that you have. Secondly, you'll earn an academic credit certificate, and that kind of depends on the type of apprenticeship you have. Let's say that you're an electromechanical, or maybe you're a CNC machinist. That's what we mean by that academic credit certificate. You'll be trained in the field by experts. So one of the biggest upsides with COD is the fact that everyone comes from the industry and has had experience running these types of machines. So it's not theory that's going on in these courseworks, but you're really learning, as the next bullet point talks about, it's very much hands-on coursework and instruction. You're really getting in. COD has, I think it's a 13,000 square foot technical education center. I happen to be from the area, and I had never been there before, and I'm really pretty blown away by it. So let me just get to the next page here, excuse me. So who's a good fit for the apprenticeship program? If you're a hands-on learner, a problem solver mentality, one of those people that kind of likes to tinker and maybe solve something. Prefer to learn through real life experiences. You'll need to be able to succeed in college level work. We kind of put a little bit of a framework around that. So if you're, an ACT of about 20, while you're working full time. Now, I very much want to paint the picture that this is not a program, since we put ACT levels, that it's just for someone who's coming out of high school or out of high school for the last 10 years. Our first graduate happened to be in his 50s. His story was the fact that he didn't enjoy what he was doing. It was a desk job. He had already even had a college degree and just wanted to have something different. So we have a wide range of different people who look into the program. So how exactly does the program work? So you'll take several classes per semester. Bottom line, it's about 1 to 2 classes per semester. So pretty doable. One of the biggest upside is that there will be no college debt because the employer completely pays for your college. So it's just a phenomenal way for you to be able to, especially if you're a career changer or you want to start your career, of being able to have your schooling paid for, but also being able to start your career and be able to work the 30 to 40 hours a week. You'll receive mentorship from the employer, as I kind of talked about, as well as this case manager that is from our group, Project Higher Ed. So I want to highlight for you 3 of the different types of opportunities that we have available right now. And that is, these are 3 that many employers in the area are really looking to hire. The industrial maintenance mechanic, an electrical mechanical technician, and a CNC program operator. How the program works, it's about a 2 to 3 year program. You'll work 40 hours a week, and then you will take classes, like I said, 1 to 2 a semester. And then, as we also talked about, you'll be earning those 2 different certificates. As part of this program, one of the things that I can share with you in a follow-up email or send it to your home is the ability to be able to see some of the different opportunities that we have available. So for each of those three areas that I had mentioned, you'll see the different jobs. We're not listing who the employers are because we want to make sure that these are companies who have come to us who agree to pay for your schooling and to go through the apprenticeship program. So we want to make sure that is something that works for you. This is a kind of an example of kind of the classes that you might take. This one happens to be, let me move our faces here. This happens to be a sample for CNC machining. So what I want to highlight for you is the fact of the type of classes that you could take. They're all very, very much applicable. So one of the things I heard one apprentice talk about is he loved how one day he was at his company seeing something new on a machine, the next day he's learning it at school, and sometimes it's vice versa. But the fact that it's all very, very integrated. So it oftentimes makes it, very fun for apprentices because they kind of get to learn by doing. So a little bit about the eligibility. You need to be able to work in the US and you need to be compliant with any employer-specific hiring requirements. What I mean by this is that some companies do have some drug testing, and so that's not something that we arrange or are familiar handle or dictate, but that's something that the employer does. Secondly, if you're a current COD student, you must have at least a 2.0 GPA or higher, or if you were with COD before and your grade point, you've left, let's say, for a few years or months or whatever, it has to be at least that level. Now, let's say that you decide this program is for you. If you decide to go back to school, take a class or two, and get your GPA up, then we'd be able to talk with you for sure. And then the third piece is follow any current College of DuPage guidelines around reading or writing placement tests. Right now, they are waiving those placement tests, but in the past, they have had those. I don't want anybody to kind of be scared off about this. What they really are is just kind of baseline tests. And part of it is to just make sure that you could be successful with listening and seeing the different, reading maybe the different instructions. So it's just kind of like some baseline to make sure that you're set up for success and being successful in the different coursework. I put in here a few slides from some of the people that had been apprentices. This is Rory. He's an industrial maintenance mechanic. A couple things for him that he talks about. I struggled to find my way for years. I worked mostly dead-end jobs for a decade and then decided that it was time for a change. What he really enjoyed is the fact that he was able to find an actual career that worked for him. So he said being an apprenticeship has actually helped build his confidence and given him purpose in life that he was missing before. So he really liked the fact that he had definite goals. He talked about having this apprenticeship has been the greatest thing that I've ever done in my career and my life. So he would definitely say, go for it for others. Now, a little bit about the story for Rory. When I met him, I happened to ask him the question, well, Rory, industrial maintenance mechanic fixes machines. So I said, Rory, how do you know if you could fix a machine? You know, you're at this big manufacturing plant. And he's like, you know, the company really sets you up with very good training and they kind of know what you're ready for in terms of the next level. And then there's so many people that you can ask. It's not like they expect you to know something right out of the gate. I want to highlight another person. I don't have a screen on him or quote, but he was a graphic artist and had his degree. During COVID, wasn't able to get many graphic artist projects. So he was looking for a career. He really didn't know much about manufacturing. And he's now a CNC machinist. So again, no background whatsoever, but these companies are willing to work with you to teach you these kind of skills. Juan, that we had seen before on the video, he is a CNC machinist. And again, no prior background. apprenticeship has been amazing. He loves how, as I kind of talked about, the schooling really correlating with the things that he does at his job. And he just happens to kind of, in case there's any parents that might be listening to this or that are in the room, for him, he kind of said that he's glad that he chose this path instead of full-time college, because he not only gets the education, but he gets the experience firsthand. So that was something that was really important to him. And he talked about the fact that his parents were kind of talking to him about, well, why don't you go to college? And he's like, this is something that I really want to do. So a little bit about Juan and actually Rory too. They are also going to be continuing on after they get their certificate. So after their apprenticeship, many companies will offer tuition reimbursement for them to continue to get their tuition paid for. It is not something you need to do, but it just happened to be something that both Juan and Rory wanted to continue on schooling at COD and maybe even get a bachelor's degree. But again, you do not need to. What our program is all about is more of taking enough classes where you get that certificate, which tends to be about 7 to 11 classes based on what the particular careers that you go into. So a little bit about next steps with us. First, if there's kind of two paths. First, if you need more industry information or to kind of know, Meg, what exactly is industrial maintenance mechanic, or would I even like CNC machining? If it's that's the situation that you're in, we recommend you take a COD course, and we have a couple that that we can select for you. It might be we have an overall seminar course. It's a 1-hour seminar course for Project Higher Ed that will talk a little bit about some of these different areas. We also have some introduction classes in manufacturing and electromechanical. So these are also offered during the summer as well as the fall and the spring. Those tend to be 3 credit hours. A lot of them happen to be in the evening. Sometimes they're during the day, but a wonderful, wonderful way for you to really see if you like this kind of work that you would be doing. If you're in the right-hand side and you're like, this sounds really great, and I am really interested in being an industrial maintenance mechanic. I love fixing machines. That's something I really love doing. If that's the case, then we can go ahead and get you started in terms of the Project Higher Ed application. This is something where you basically, turn in your resume, answer a couple quick key questions. You'll have an intake interview with someone in our program. After that, how it works is then you and us kind of decide where your resume should be shared. So remember, I showed you that list of the different careers that we have and the different towns that they're in. Well, maybe you kind of look at this and say, you know what, Broadview is way too far from Addison. I'm not interested in that. But I would like to go for those 3. So you get to determine who we send the resume to. We then send the resume, and then hopefully they get back and they say to us, yes, we would like to interview you. And then it's all between you and the employer. Once you together decide that this is something that you both want to do, then we work with the employer to make sure that there's the paperwork so that it guarantees that you get paid, that your tuition, books, and fees are paid for. So we handle all of that so that you don't have to handle that kind of paperwork and different elements such as that. What else do I have? So if anybody wants to provide their email, I would be happy to send them a few bits of information. One is that link that we have to current apprenticeship job opportunities. So for each of those 3 major areas that we have, industrial maintenance mechanic, the CNC machining, and electromechanical, we actively have employers looking for people now. You don't even have to wait for a semester to start at COD. We can get you in there right away to start learning about those opportunities. We can also provide some more information about these careers. So, just maybe a video here and there for you to be able to do something with that. Secondly is a next steps, detailed information. So I can send you some recommendations on the COD classes you might want to take a look at. If this kind of sounds good and you just kind of want to maybe get your feet wet, kind of tiptoe in it a little bit and see if this interests you. And then secondly, also can send you the application if you are ready. And then we have this in terms of the information session that we normally hold, but I know that Sarah is taping this as well, so I'm sure she'll be able to make that available. So just to recap kind of where we are on some of the key benefits, I think the overall piece that really I think resonates with a lot of people and is very valuable is the ability to be able to start your career now. It could also be restarting your career, as I had mentioned with a couple of the people that we work with. The full-time salary and benefits, you're earning 2 industry certificates that are nationwide recognized. You will have no college debt, and you'll have this hands-on coursework and instruction, really at a fantastic facility at College of DuPage. And the option to be able to continue your education further. As I mentioned, it's not essential. You don't have to. After you get your certificate, you do not need to. But if you decide to, then that could be something. And one of the key advantages of our program is the fact that these are all stackable credentials. So what exactly does that mean? So let's take you take these 7 to 10 classes, like what I showed you on CNC machining. You take those classes, and then maybe there's another 7 classes, don't quote me, then together that would then make your associate's degree. So you're not, the classes that were having you take in CNC machining aren't taking you a different direction if you decide that you want to earn your associate's degree. So here's our contact information. Our general project higher ed email, our phone number. You can visit our website. You will see some information on there. You are welcome to take a look at anything on there. We're changing our model a little bit in the fact that we used to require someone has to take this seminar course. Now it's optional. And as I had mentioned on one of the slides, it's something that if you know what you want to do and you want to start the application process, we're happy to help you get that started.